Welcome back to the On the Pace podcast, where we cover everything Formula One, IndyCar, and WRC, with a little bit of other races I decided to watch this weekend, which will be included in this one. I'm your host, Eli. And for the most part today, we will be breaking down WRC Sweden, the second rally. I'm well aware I missed Monte Carlo. I do not need to be reminded of that, but I did catch Sweden. So we're probably going to talk about that for the majority of this podcast. And then obviously I got my NASCAR hoodie on. We're going to be talking a little bit about the Daytona race, just a quick little at the end of the podcast. But most of this podcast will be covering the WRC Sweden rally that happened this weekend. Thank you for listening. Like, subscribe, it would really help me out. Also, maybe help me out a little bit with putting a fire under me, get some of this done. I am a father and I do have other jobs, but I do want to really keep this going. And really, as seasons start, obviously the WRC already has started, but as Formula One Indy starts, I would like to be a little bit more consistent with all that. So let's start with what happened in Sweden. Just a little bit of my original analysis of what Rally Sweden is. No one wins Rally Sweden because they were brave enough to go out in the snow. I mean, most of these guys are from, Nordic or ex-Soviet countries. But they win because they can survive the conditions. They win because they know how to manage the car. It's hard getting out in snow. Listen, there was big snow here in North Carolina, and I was basically the only guy out on the streets when that happened because I thought I was brave enough to go out because I play enough of the video game. I got my wheel and I'm going out. I'm like, I've done this before. I can handle this in a 2004 Camry. But people win and lose here because of brake pressure. They win and lose because of the studs in the tires. They win and lose because they understand what it's like to drive through the forest. And at the end of the day, that's what Evans did. Now, I jokingly call Elvin Evans my cousin, so if I refer to him during this podcast as my cousin, that is why. We share a very close similarity in names, along with countries of origin and areas of origin. But Elvin did it in 2 hours, 35 minutes, 53.1 seconds. That's all that mattered this rally. And he dominated it like he's done in the past, but with spectacle. He dominated it with restraint. And more importantly, I know we're 2 rallies in, but he tilted the championship that he lost. He lost it last year. He blew it last year, basically. But he tilted it towards his favor again. And that's what's important. I really think, continuing on what Rally Sweden means, it is a high-speed snow rally. But more importantly, I think sometimes what gets overlooked is it tests rotational trust. It tests how comfortable a driver is, allowing the rear axle just to step enough to carve the car through that icy snow. I mean, we watched it. Guys who have been around a little bit, but objectively are less experienced than people like Elvin, people like Komatsu. Soberg became a snowplow. I mean, on day 2. I mean, Pro just went through the ice. I mean, he pulled up a full, average Canadian drive to work day up there. And he's Swedish. That was his homecoming race. But some of these guys who are Nordic, I mean, they're used to it, but at the same time, you can see where experience matters. It tests how comfortable a driver is. You know, the one of those things too that about Sweden is it's always going to be consistent. It's going to be when it's cold up there, it's cold up there. The road's ice. They're driving on ice. It's a snow rally. It's an ice rally. There's dense snow banks. You make an error, and you're you're sledding. You are Santa. You are in a sleigh immediately. But more importantly, too, the cold temperature preserves the stud bite, and we saw who we thought. I mean, at the end of the day, but we'll get into that later. But consistency means something important. There's no weather excuses. This is Sweden. You better buckle in. But also, this rally came down to execution. 300 kilometers. Can you execute? Can you execute in the snow? Can we do that? And at the end of the day, you saw who was experienced and who wasn't. I mean, I don't want to get into this right now, but obviously there needs to be a conversation about Toyota and that it's a Toyota spec series at this point. I would love to see more industries. I'd love to see more constructors, I guess you could say, in the into WRC. Bring back Subaru, please. But at the end of the day, who competed? I mean, it was really between Elvin, my cousin, and yeah. So let's get into Elvin. His margin to Katsuta was 14 seconds. And this is kind of Katsuta's main goal. This is his rally. I mean, obviously, historically, it's Evans to lose. It's his rally to lose. He's won it 3 times now. But Katsuta always has a strong showing out here. And they traded. I mean, I believe day 1, Solberg was leading. Day 2 was Katsuta. Day 3 is Elvin. And he pushed it through to the end of the power stage to secure his victory. More importantly, though, at the end of the day, when you have a snow rally, 14 seconds, it's close. I mean, we've seen some dominant rallies. We've seen some dominant stages. But in snow rally, it is kind of comfortable. Katsuta, I read a whole article from Dirtfish talking about that. He took blame for it. At the end of the day, he's chasing his elusive win. Maybe it's because he's Japanese. Low key kind of reminds me of Yuki Tsunoda from F1. You know, fan favorite, kind of put there by the manufacturer. He's talented enough to be there, though. But chasing that win, and he had it. I mean, he had it, but you don't fight against Elvin Evans. More importantly, Elvin's braking in the actual rally was progressive. He got better and better throughout each day. You know, just a little, I guess, science trip time. But when you slam on the brake on ice, you spike the front-loaded stud. That overheats the leading edge of the stud, and over the entire stage, the micro damage costs grip, especially when you're on ice. I mean, I can't ice skate. I mean, I was born in the South, but so maybe that helps. But I can't even ice skate. I have trouble walking down my steps when we got hit with the blizzard. But Evans what he did progressively throughout the rally is he trailed off the brake just before peak rotation. That allows the rear differential to do its job without forcing the front to drag. So it's basically fancy terms for saying he protected his tires while maintaining speed. And that's experience. Also, he didn't rush throttle. You know, he didn't just... But when you pull the throttle too early in Sweden, you understeer wide. You understeer on ice. And then you're leaning on the snowbanks, and then next thing you know, you're doing 8 flips in the air, and you're pushing that thing to the end of the stage. But when he feathers the throttle through specifically mid-corners, talking about those threes and stuff, it completes the rotation, and that's how he gains up time in the corner. That's why his second pass splits barely faded. But even more important about Evans, when Katsuta briefly put pressure on him, he just kept it cool. I mean, he's a cool dude. I mean, all right, so like for context, I'm a massive Evans fanboy. All right, my friend wanted to buy me one of those. Remember those old fathead things? Like they had the picture of the athletes. I had one of Clay Matthews, actually, but he wanted to buy me an Evans fathead thing from some sketchy like Temu off-brand website that he definitely did not sign off on. But I mean, he's calm, he's cool, he's collected, he knows what he's got to do. He's the betting favorite at this point to win this year. But when Katsuta put pressure on him, he just responded with continuous pace. Man, put the pace on him. Just slowly doing his thing. Making those medium corners, making those threes. Feathering the throttle through the mid-corner. And he just slowly... I mean, racing at the end of the day is about half seconds, but it's also about how you can gain up those half seconds. And at this point, I hope he doesn't blow it, or else I'm going to smash another TV. But he's got the championship caliber thinking. And that's important. That's what WRC champions are made of. Let's see if he blows it again. But I hope he doesn't. I think he's got this. I really think he's got this. And I hope he dominates Kenya again. I'm so excited for Kenya. I will do my predictions for Kenya soon. Shocker. Guess who I think's going to win? Takakatsu. I can never pronounce his name. Moto Katsuta. Katsuta. Anyway, Katsuta finishes 13 seconds behind him. And at the end of the day, like I said, I'm pretty blunt when I call this out. I mean, he blew it. Cue the meme. You blew it! Katsuta blew it. He had the raw pace. He was great through the high-speed forest sections, especially when he puts in 6th gear. I mean, he was flying. The car was stable. His steering inputs were good. I mean, he was flying. But at the end of the day, it's not one in fast sweeps. It's one under braking. It's one under your technical ability with the car. And he was hesitating in some braking zones. I mean, the data says it. He lost time in a bunch of the final thirds of stages. He wasn't managing the tires like Evans was. And he went hard day 1, day 2. I mean, sometimes when you go hard in the paint for the first half, you come out for the 3rd and the 4th, and you're exhausted. And the other guy saved up his time, and he's going hard in the paint, and he's dunking on you. That's what Evans did. He dunked on him, boy. But championships are decided by drivers who can flip the pressure. Katsuta applied the pressure. He didn't flip it. I mean, this is your teammate at the same time. This guy you've been chasing for a while. I understand you're Toyota's boy. But at the same time, what are you going to do? I almost feel bad for him. I honestly do. Is he ever going to win? I don't know. I'd like to see it. I'd like for him to win. Objectively, me being an Evans fan makes me a Toyota fan. So even though I enjoy good racing and we need to have the conversation about Toyota, I would like for him to win. He's not going to win with the mentality. He's not going to do it. It's just not going to happen. He had it, and he blew it. But that's why Evans is the GOAT. I know he's not. All right, don't at me. I know he's not. But in my head, he is. My cousin. You know. So, another one we kind of need to talk about. First time podium sitter. Sammy Piari. It's not Pajari, it's Piari. At least that's how the announcers were saying it. I don't know. I'm not Finnish. I never had a Finnish friend. But from a young guy coming back into rally, young guy, 46 seconds is good for a podium. He was in control of third pace the entire time. He was. He did well. I think he adapted to the speed very well. I think he adjusted pretty much the entire time as well. I just want to check something real quick. Yeah, I mean, he's young. He's younger than me. That makes me feel great about my life. I don't know why I say came back to rally. I don't know. It's tired. It's late. I'm tired. It's late at night. But yeah, bro's younger than me. He kind of showed up. He showed up. And he said, I'm good on snow. I'm good on ice. He adapted the speed well. When your rut's deepen on second passes, the steering angle must decrease. So, like, if you got a wheel, you're not, like a wheel at home, I mean, I play the WRC video game constantly. So if you got a wheel at home, if you maintain the same steering aggression, so if you're back here, you don't need to go up here. Just a little bit. Because you increase the lateral drag. But he adjusted, and he adjusted early. And he didn't collapse in late stages, like basically all of Hyundai. But again, different rant that I probably need to do because I keep bringing it up. Well, that'll be its own podcast. He wasn't spectacular. He was intelligent. And that finishes on podium in Sweden. That's what finishes on the podium. And more importantly, on top of that, he's young. Are we looking at the next Finn? Probably. The Finns take care of each other. That's something very established within the motorsports industry. So we're probably looking at him. And he got his first podium. Intelligence finishes on podiums. It doesn't always mean you win. But it finishes on podiums. And when you're in a point system, that's what matters. So, keeping on the Wonder Kid angle. Oliver Solberg. One minute, 11 seconds behind the lead. In control out of day one after his win at Monte Carlo. And then, day two, he became a snowplow. In the banks, dude. I mean, the F1 movie was awful, objectively, but that scene where Brad Pitt's, 60-year-old character can still race in F1 is just rummaging, like just plowing down the signs. And when he did that in the snowbanks, that's all I could think of. That sign goes flying. His car's screwed. Objectively, it wasn't catastrophic because he did finish fourth. But it was mismanaged. when you hit a snowbank, it determines whether it rotates you cleanly or stalls you. He stalled, lost momentum, he lost seconds. Really, I think they said 30, 40 seconds, if I recall correctly. And then after that, it becomes damage limitations. It becomes, don't let me destroy the car. Don't let me finish at the bottom. He had good recovery pace. But, if you're never in that position in the first place, championship leaders don't rely on recovery pace. They eliminate it. They eliminate the need for recovery pace. That's what you see on my boy Elvin. Sometimes. But in all seriousness, I'm really liking what I'm seeing out Solberg. Obviously, his dad, he's coming in with that last name. It's his home rally. I'm sure that matters. Every home race always matters. But I really liked what I saw out of him. Specifically, obviously, we didn't talk about Monte Carlo, but I liked what I saw out of him at Monte Carlo. I really appreciated it. I mean, first win, big time. But more importantly, he's going to go far. Well, this is the name we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about him winning. But, that one mistake just killed him. He's coming back day 3, day 4, trying to get there. Let's look at my notes. Yeah, which I do before we kind of talk about Hyundai, because wasn't great, obviously, but I do want to talk about sex. No, not like that. My lisp and southern accent, I think, came out at the same time. Sesks. I want to talk about Sesks. I love this kid. I mean, he's the face of what Rally needs. He's fun during interviews. He enjoys it. He gives good technical analysis, and he's fun to watch. I'd love to just sit in I'd love to be his co-driver. I'm sure he's great. He seems great on a mic. He seems great in general. He's got a lot of fun attitude. I gotta remind myself exactly where he finished. But he's looking good. There's a lot of young talent right now out there. And while Sesks is maybe not looking as good as, oh my gosh, where did he finish? Have I lost my mind? I mean, I know he had that pretty big go off. All right, so he finished 35th. With that, he did retire, if I'm correct. It's been a day or two, all right? And it's been a day or two. But I love him. I think he's what WRC needs right now, because everyone talks about the glory days of the 90s and how he had these big personalities and all that stuff. He is him. I'm being very careful about how I pronounce that, but Sesks is him. That's just it. I love his like tinted glasses he wears around. He's going to be, whether I think a lot of people like it or not, obviously the Latvians love it, but he's going to be the next kind of face, in my opinion. Doesn't mean he's going to win. We've seen multiple people who are faces of different motorsport series in regards. I think of Ross Chastain here in NASCAR, where the dude's won races. The dude had the most viral moment NASCAR ever had in probably 10 years. He's not Larson or Hamlin, but he's fun, and that's what matters. So I'm all on board with Sesks. I'm going to have to be real careful about how I pronounce that from now on. All right, Hyundai. Jeez. Maybe this is where I get into the rant. For Mo, 1 minute 50 seconds. Lappy, 1 minute 53 seconds. Neuville, 3 minutes 45 seconds. I understand he did take a minute penalty, so it's more like 2 minutes 45 seconds. That's not a competitive cluster, it's a containment cluster. The I-20, it was bad during the mid corners. They were correcting steerings after a single apex. And listen, it's not the Ford. Jeez. I mean, Ford needs to pack it up and go home. I feel sorry for the Irish. Listen, as someone who likes to support the Irish just on principle, maybe it's the Catholic principle of supporting the Irish. Maybe it's helping people who have been crushed under the British foot. I sympathize with that. As someone who likes supporting the Irish, geez, I feel bad for him driving those Fords, man. I don't even drive a Ford. I drive straight Japanese in my own personal life. But my grandfather was a big Ford guy. Never drove anything else. Ford only. Ford only. That's what he drove. And dude, my grandfather's been dead 9 years now, I think. Last 7 years of his life, he was complaining how bad Ford got. Just in general. He wasn't talking about WRC, but he might as well be. But back to Hyundai. They're correcting their steering angle after apexes. Every correction costs. That's every racing series. But more importantly, micro time becomes macro deficit. I mean, you're looking at the guy who won 2024. And I'll cut off the penalty time, but he's still about 3 minutes behind. It's a mismatch between car balance. I mean, we can go through this. I want another constructor in WRC. I would like 2 or 3, honestly. I think maybe... Obviously, Subaru is the big one. I'm not really sure what to put in after Subaru. I don't think Ford cares about their car. Obviously, new regulations for the cars coming in 2027. I mean, and when I say I don't think Ford cares, I don't think they as a company care about WRC, period. Obviously, they have the Red Bull deal in Formula One. They have NASCAR. They have their GT3. They have bigger series, in my opinion. I think that's why the car is bad. But the I-20 is just... It's gotten worse as time's gone on. And the drivers are fighting it. I mean, they're full of pulling up to the ring with Apollo Creed, which is Toyota. Toyota's so dominant. And like I said, objectively Toyota fan. But it's rough. It's rough. I'm really hoping 2027 brings something new. But it's rough right now to be a Hyundai driver. The Hyundai drivers just fought their car the entire rally. And that's the difference. If you can't put a good car on track, you're going to lose. And that's just the unfortunate reality of what we're looking at right now with Hyundai. Let's talk about the power stages for a moment. Power stages are always brutal, but Sweden, studs are worn, ruts are deep, grip consistency is pretty compromised. So, at the end of the day, drivers have to choose, preserve overall position, risk everything. Evan said, we're risking everything. That's why he's my cousin. He attacked on the power stages. I mean, he kept braking linear. He avoided over rotation in the braking zones. But he believed in his margin. I do think he did believe. He did attack, though. He said, I'm winning this. I'm winning this, boy. And he did it. Katsuta. I'm always going to call him Katsu. I don't know why. I don't want to put that TA on the back. But anyway, Katsuta pushed harder. You could see slightly more steering aggression in the tighter sections on the onboard. But pushing on worn studs is dangerous. He overcommitted the car, washes wide. Evans balanced it. It was decisive. It reinforced what he was doing. And psychologically, that matters. At the end of the day, I always find motorsports interesting because I grew up playing team sports. I never karted. I never did any of this. I got into this way later in life. My son he seems like he wants to drive. Maybe it's just because daddy loves motorsports. But I always played team sports. I always played large team sports. Lacrosse was my main one. Played soccer, football, American football. So large team sports. But I did for a bit play tennis. And tennis was different for me because I'm only relying on myself. Now in lacrosse, I did play goalie at some point. I played goalie in soccer too. So that is kind of relying on you. But in tennis, it's only you. In your opponent's psychology matters. Motorsports, to me, is the same. You are a single person. And yes, you have a team. You have your pit crew. Depending on the series, you have your spotter, your crew chief, or your team principal, or, WRC. You have your co-driver. But objectively, you're the one behind the wheel. You have to control the car. You have to push the car. You have to preserve your tires. And I just think Evans crushed psychologically. Specifically over at Katsuta. I think we're looking at a broken man at this point. I mean, I hate to say it. But listen, I really think we're looking at a broken man here. Evans just crushed him. Psychology. And especially when you're fighting for the lead, and the last thing you see your, at this point, first place rival doing is pushing and not defending, you're already behind. He got you on day 3. It's tough. It's very tough. All right. I do want to talk about the Irish. What is there to say about the Irish? Oh, there's a lot. Trust me, every time you go in a bookstore, there's like a whole Irish history section. But most importantly, Armstrong, McIrland, 4 minutes and 6 minutes, respectively. The Puma, Rally 1. Yeah, like I said, Ford might need to pack it up. Both cars finished. Highlight right there. I mean, I think they're good drivers. I really like Armstrong. I mean, we do kind of that new next young crop coming in. I like Armstrong. For some reason, during the broadcast, I kept looking at the guy. I was like, does he have a mustache? And he never did. And I don't know why I pretended he did. But they're not contenders. They're not collapsing. They just drive for Ford. Like, it's just the truth. Obviously, Armstrong did 4 minutes, got 2 minutes over his teammate, his fellow countryman. Listen, the Ford sucks. That's all I can say. All right, I have hope, for Armstrong. I hope he succeeds, like I said. Irish pride, I guess. But at the end of the day, when the Ford is bad, the Ford is bad. Your final results, Evans, obviously, wins it. 3rd win. Katsuta, 2nd. Piari, I'm going to get that. Piari, 3rd. Evans now has a 13-point lead going into Kenya. I think he'll win Kenya. We'll do an actual analysis of Kenya before the rally begins, but I think he'll win Kenya. I just don't see anyone competing with him. And that's what this really established. Rally Sweden did not explode into chaos necessarily, though it's sometimes fun watching the cars go off in the snow, but clarified hierarchy. You got a bunch of young guys, you got guys doing everything. Clarified hierarchy with Evans, the most technical disciplined driver in the field. Clarified hierarchy with Toyota. It's the most balanced. It's the better team. Who are we kidding? Kasuta did prove he belongs. I mean, I know people talk about the fact that specifically the French, and you know who I mean by that, if you watch WRC or follow it in any regard, almost basically kind of killed the sport because of how dominant they were. And right now, I will argue Toyota is kind of doing that on the car side of things, but we got a lot of young talent coming up. I really think this, again, Elvin Evans is driving with precision. Precision wins championships. He's the favorite. He's probably the favorite going in anyway. I'm sorry that I did not do a clear breakdown originally, but I'm all for it. I'm all for him. I want to kind of shift now to a different series. Daytona 500. My accent's going to come out when I start talking about NASCAR. I don't intend it to, but it does. Daytona 500 happened. I'm not going to cover that much NASCAR on this channel. I will cover the races I watch, and some weekends that might just be, watch this race. We're going to talk about it. There's a lot of NASCAR-specific podcasts out there to begin with who are more technical, analytical, and better than me in any regard. You know, obviously this is my second show to begin with. But like I said, I got the Tar Heel hat on. I grew up in the South. I'm wearing it mostly because this was on the clearance rack at Walmart. And it is big down here still. So I did watch the Daytona. Tyler Reddick with your champion. But I haven't watched a NASCAR race in a while. I think I did watch the championship race at the end of last season. Before that, I think the last one I watched was the Coke 600 in Charlotte. And it was a good race. Daytona was a very good race. Obviously, you had last lap chaos, as most Daytonas do. Reddick drove an amazing last couple laps. I mean, the way he obviously got bumped from his teammate, but the way he went in and out, yeah, he drove amazing. A lot of the media coverage has been about Michael Jordan, the fact that's Michael Jordan's team. Again, as someone who lives in North Carolina, I get it. It's the first time NASCAR has been in the news, possibly for something that wasn't the lawsuit since Ross Chastain. Since Ross, you know, the Hail Melon. But I think something that's important that I recognize while watching Daytona is I talked about a rally car for 35 minutes, but the races are long. They're so filled with commercial. NASCAR has a Fox Sports problem. Their announcers are terrible. I don't even know who's announcing for them anymore, but I was just sitting here. I'm like, ugh. The stages are problems. I can go on, but objectively, I am happy that I watched that race. It was a fun race. I'm glad for Tyler Reddick. I know his kids suffering through stuff, and as father of young children, I can't imagine it. I'm happy for him. I always liked him as a driver, and I kind of am a 2311 fan. More importantly, just like Rally Car, I am a Toyota fan. So always good to see the Toyota up front. But yeah, it was a good race. NASCAR can sometimes take some crap. from other motorsports series. A lot of people going, they just drive around in circles. And I see the good old boys out here on their own podcast talking about F1, no one passes. IndyCar's not as big. I don't even think they know what rally car is, yet they do it down my dirt road every single day. Either way, I think it was a good race. Daytona was a good race. I don't have that much analytical information for you. I think the other thing that I've realized about watching NASCAR personally, I got NASCAR behind me, but it's culture up here. You got to understand, it's culture in North Carolina. One of the things that I also realized, though, is the lead changes are fun, but in a sense, they're not. They don't have that just passing by, where it's like they're in the lead. I think there was 23 different lead changes in Daytona, and that's cool, but some of that's pit strategy. Some of that's, they're 4 wide. Lead change, lead change, lead change. Out of each corner of those 4 wide, well, next 30 laps, they're still 4 wide going. I don't mean to hate on NASCAR by any means. I do appreciate it, and I do like it. And obviously, I watched Daytona. But as many races in a season as they've got, yeah, it's going to be hard for me to keep up with open wheel racing and rally racing as much as I intend to do, and keep up with NASCAR as well. So I will be talking about some NASCAR races that happen and come out. Like I said, probably the ones I watch. I might be going to one this year because Lord only knows I cannot afford going to Miami, Austin, Vegas, maybe Montreal. That's a possibility, but I can't afford going to any of those races. I might go to Barber. I'm also looking at going to Barber or the race in DC that IndyCar is doing, but I still appreciate it, but I won't be covering that much on it. If I watch a race, I'll talk about it a little bit, who won, what's going on, if I enjoyed it or not, but for the most part, we're going to strictly stick to WRC, Formula One, and IndyCar here on this channel. So, thank you to listen to me ramble, but thank everyone who came. I appreciate it. If you give me a like, follow, tell me how I can make this better. Obviously, I know one of those things is my video quality, but I'm doing this in a hallway. I appreciate everyone who gave me the time to listen. Thank you, and good night.